Hi there, I'm Mike Powell from Element 14 and today we're going to talk a little bit about making your own Gertboard. This is the finished article, but actually the Gertboard arrives as a kit consisting of a bare printed circuit board that looks a lot like that and a kit of components. Today we've got Paul Gibbon here from Weller who's going to just give us a little bit of guidance on basic good principles in soldering for those of you who haven't done a lot of soldering before or have never done any soldering. So Paul, just give us an idea to begin with about the kind of equipment you've got here, what somebody at home might use, and some of the kind of good practice, sensible things that you should do when soldering.
No problem. Okay, well, we're fortunate enough today to have one of the Weller WSM1C units here, but for those that are not as fortunate or maybe don't have the budget, I would recommend maybe going for something that's temperature controlled, allows you to be much more specific about the temperatures you're melting. Maybe you're using leaded or high temperature solder, for example.
Yes.
And something with a tip that you can change size of so that you can size the tip to the size of the pad. It's generally a good rule of thumb to match your tip size to your pad size.
So the pad is the area where the component is soldered to, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Whether it be a through hole or a surface mount type,
yeah,
you generally refer to them as...
So with very, very small surface mount components, of which there are some in this kit, you'd use a much smaller tip.
You can do. I mean, the advantage of the newer stations is that you can change the tips very, very quickly.
Okay.
So again, it's good practice generally to change your tip if you're doing a different size joint, but I understand if people don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
Obviously the theories behind soldering is about heat transfer, and so the larger the tip, the better opportunity you've got to transfer the heat onto the board. So if you're talking about that, then it's always good to tin the iron before you start any sort of soldering, and make sure that you get a good coating over the end of it. That enables you to transfer.
So that's quite shiny, and so that would indicate it's been tinned and ready to go.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. And you'll notice that some of the fume that came off there.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It's in an ideal situation as we've got here. We've got the Weller fume extraction available to us. But if you're soldering at home, you're a hobbyist or a small engineer in a small workshop, try and work in sort of the best lit and the best ventilated position that you can.
Okay. So doors and windows open.
If you can, if it doesn't blow your house down.
Don't breathe in the fumes.
Try not to. It's slightly nasty stuff. So try and keep a good change around of the air.
So good common sense approach required, really.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just to kind of give you an outline of other parts, we've got the dry cleaner here on the solder. I know some people out there will be using the wet sponge. That's
this piece here, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. It looks a lot like a Brillo pad.
Doesn't it?
This particular type is made of brass. If you're going to buy one, don't buy the ones with the soap on them. They tend to get a bit sticky and smelly.
Yeah.
And these are great for cleaning your tips up, particularly if they've oxidised or they've gone black and you can't get any solder to stick on them. They're also really good for not giving you thermal shock on the tip, which is another great advantage.
Yeah.
Some of the other tools we've got on the desk here, we've got a side cutter, a plier, and some small tweezers. If you're constructing your Gertboard, you're holding an LED or something with a long leg, a pair of pliers is, particularly a fine set, is an ideal tool to have with you. And again, once you've done all your work and you're proud and you're happy with your soldering joints, you can obviously tidy it up with a side cutter. So other tools that you can add, we've got a number of tweezers here which are great for aligning the surface mount parts and such like. So again, a stainless steel one is a good option to go for you.
Okay. And are there any golden rules of soldering? So for example, when you've got your board and the components are on the board, and you've got your solder in your hand and your soldering iron in the other hand, what is the golden rule there when you're actually soldering?
Well, there's a number of things that you should try and maintain. If you're doing a through hole, then you're looking for the solder to penetrate down through the hole, so you've got a good strong joint. A solder joint is a mechanical joint, so the more metal you can get on there and the good seal that you can get on that is important. And if you're doing anything surface mount, again, it's about getting a good level solder joint basically on that. And again, it's the tinning of the tip and getting the heat transfer down the hole is important. If you're using lead-free solder, you might find that if you've used leaded solder in the past, it takes a little bit longer, and it does. It's a slightly slower process at a slightly higher temperature. So don't be afraid to hold the iron on there for maybe a second or two longer than you used to, and you might find that if you're familiar with the leaded solder, afterwards the lead-free solder might look a little grayer. That doesn't mean it's a bad joint, it means it's got no lead in it, so it doesn't give you the shine that you used to get.
Oh, very good. Okay, well, Paul, thank you very much for that.
Okay.
And I'm sure that we'll have a number of people who have good experience putting their Gertboards together. Thanks.
No problem.